It is my very, very great pleasure to welcome you here to Solutions House. It's my fantastic joy to invite Climate Live up here onto the stage. We are huge fans of Climate Live and the work that you do, and also the power of music and creativity to touch a part of us that perhaps doesn't always get communicated with through climate change. So I'm going to hand over to Francis and say thank you very much and welcome to Solutions House.
Hello. Hi. Thank you all for coming so early in the morning to hear us talk about the power of music. We're going to start with a round of intros of these lovely young women who've joined me on this panel, who are all leading the way in the music climate space. So, Leah, could you introduce yourself and your organization, please?
Sure. Is this working? It is working? Okay, cool. Holding it like a burrito. Oh, my name is Leah. Reimagined. Basically, we're doing a survey. I'm doing a big project on how music artists can actually engage their fans. Is this not working? Okay. Passing the mic. Can you guys hear me? Okay, great, awesome. Well, let's start over. Okay, my name is Leah. I'm a fellow at Planet Reimagined. So basically, we are doing a one-year project looking into how music artists can engage fans at concerts and what kind of climate actions fans actually want the artists to push for, what kind of action that they really want to do. So we can talk a little bit more about that later.
Hi, my name is Eleanor Anderson. I come from a background of academic and corporate research in behavioral and neuroeconomics, which I studied at UChicago, and I currently work with the Music Sustainability Association, which is kind of a neutral party aiming to have all different factions of the music industry come together to collaborate, cross-pollinate, and work really to find solutions for climate change.
Hi everyone, my name is Dominique Palmer. I am a climate justice activist from the UK. I am part of Climate Live, which is a youth-led organisation to harness the power of music to unite people, to engage, educate and empower people to be part of the global climate movement, which we'll speak more about later. I'm also a big fan of music and using the intersection of the creative arts and creativity and climate. I'm a fellow of and on the Youth Advisory Board for the Royal Society of the Arts, and I'm also really focused on intersectional climate justice and climate action and include that in the work that I do. And it's great to be here with all of you today.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for making it this early. Solidarity. I'm Tori. I'm a climate justice activist from Hong Kong, but I'm based in the UK. I'm the climate justice lead for an organization founded by Brian Eno called Earth%, where we take money from the music industry and we redistribute it to different causes. So I lead the climate justice section of that. I'm also a member of Climate Live and a big lover of music. And over the last few years, I've been working with Billie Eilish on some of her communications and also her programming for Overheated, which is something that usually kind of tags on the end of her concerts, where we do activations, panels, discussions, and meet with her fans and engage them in the climate space.
Amazing. And you may have noticed that sadly Wawa couldn't join us this morning. We've all got a lot on this week. She's feeling a little burnt out, but we have another talk this evening at Marketplace of the Future if you'd like to hear her talk about her work. So I'm Francis. I'm the founder of Climate Live, which Dominique explained what we do. And we also have a little video with people from our teams around the world and some artist supporters. So without further ado, hopefully this works.
Hello. Music has the power to unite people.
It's the one universal language on the earth.
We need to harness this power in one harmonious voice.
7.6 million took to the streets to demand climate action in September 2019.
But leaders still fail to act
with the necessary urgency.
Millions of young people around the world are demanding change, and it's time to stop the apathy on climate change.
Can you hear us?
Time is running out for the planet as we know it.
So,
to change everything,
We need everyone.
Youth climate activists supported by NGOs and music and events professionals are organising Climate Live.
Concerts
and concrete action.
Local outreach programs.
to harness the power of music.
Because in many MAPA countries, it is illegal and so unsafe to strike.
As a result, fewer than 1% of the students in Africa attended a strike.
And globally.
Not everyone wants to go to a protest, but everyone wants to go to a festival. So music is a powerful tool to spread awareness.
Can you hear us yet?
Following the model of school strikes, there will be both events on large and small scales across the globe.
Events are currently being planned in over 30 countries.
We have three main aims.
Engage a new audience to the climate movement.
Educate more people about the challenges faced today by those on the front lines of ecological breakdown.
Educate more people in Africa
About why they are today facing so many climate-related challenges. As only 20% in Africa are climate literate.
Empower young people to pressure world leaders to take actions to combat the climate crisis.
We kicked things off last year with events in 27 countries. This year, there will be
local program
throughout 2023
and
concerts all over the world.
On the 21st of October 2023, before the UN COP28 climate conference in November.
And governments will be asked to commit to solutions
and deliver the details, timing, and implementation of the Loss and Damage Fund.
To turn pledges into concrete actions.
unlike the 100 billion a year by 2020 agreed in 2009.
World leaders, what progress will you deliver
over the next 12 months
before COP28 in November 2023?
It is crucial
for our future
that world leaders are more ambitious.
We will ask them,
can you hear us yet?
Can you hear us yet?
The climate crisis hasn't stopped for COVID, and neither can we.
The crisis is happening now. It is here.
The leaders of the world aren't doing enough.
We just have to keep spreading the message.
Why wait? Why wait to act on this?
We can't do it alone.
We need you.
Please use your privilege and fight for us.
It is so vitally important that anyone with a platform of any size does whatever they can to support the youth-led climate movement.
World leaders, can you hear us yet?
The louder we shout and the more we'll be heard.
Can you hear us yet?
We can make a difference.
Together, we need to be united in one voice.
Make your voice counted too.
E quanto mais alto gritarmos, mais seremos escutados.
Can you hear us yet?
The young ones are speaking out. The elders are echoing the wisdom.
So join them as they raise awareness of the challenges faced today by people on the front line of ecological breakdown.
Please join us.
Junte-se a nós.
Por favor, junte-se a nós.
Kamuza tukale antomwe.
S'il vous plaît, nous vous demandons, rejoignez-nous.
Sumama na kayo.
Peke yetu hatuwezi.
Wiai Chibatani.
Por favor, junte-se a nós.
Domulina.
Wiai Tibatani.
Yerit Domulina.
Iko bia kisonyera anyi.
Rejoignez-nous.
Por favor, junte-se a nós. Zehi, kokyoraku kudasai.
Please join us.
Enlace mazimas.
¿Nos escuchan ahora?
Let's do this.
Yeah, so that's a little bit about what we do at Climate Live. So we have teams in over 40 countries who organise concerts and go to festivals. It's all completely youth-led by the young people of Fridays for Future and equivalent groups around the world. Just making some more noise because the climate strikes have been incredible, but as you heard some of my colleagues in Africa saying in the video, fewer than 1% of students in Africa joined the strikes because it's really unsafe over there to do so. So Climate Live gives an outlet of this youth energy to be involved from young people over there and other countries in the global south where it's dangerous to strike and protest, so that they can put their energy into this and fight for the climate without putting their lives on the line and risking being arrested and, you know, sometimes even just disappearing, which is horrific. Moving on to something a little less intense. I'd like to start with a question, a very general one, asking my lovely panelists, why is music a powerful tool to drive change? And I'll start with you, Leah.
Sure. So I think in our specific project, we're looking into how concerts can be the place for change, right? It can be a space to drive action. And then I just want everybody to close your eyes and think back to a concert that you went to recently, right? Or you've been to. And then think about the experience, right? So 3 seconds. I know we don't have a lot of time here. And then now you can close your eyes, you can keep your eyes closed or open it, right? Open them. But think about how you feel. And can you actually recall the feelings in that concert? And to me, the first concert that came to my mind was the first one that I went to after the pandemic, to a Alicia Keys concert, right? And then it's like we stayed home for like 3 whole years. We couldn't see people, we couldn't go anywhere, and suddenly we're like surrounded by people who understand us. And who understand, who can sing along, who can dance along, you can high five with, and you understand the experience of in that space, but also you understand growing up, the experience of listening to similar songs, the same songs, right? And then so that's the energy that we're trying to really capture and to really hold on to it and to help ourselves see each other. And we're trying to use that experience to say, we also see you. You care about the planet. You care about the climate. And I know you want to do something. And same thing with the artists, right? If you think about Billie Eilish, you think about a lot of the artists out there, they really want to do something, but they're not quite sure what exactly they're supposed to do. So our project is trying to answer that question. There's so many things people can do. So we're doing a survey to actually help the artists understand what fans want. So I'm going to stop there, but I think, you know, the concert is really a space that we share this emotion together, we share this feeling together, we share this love and care together. Yeah.
For those of you who don't know behavioral economics, essentially what I studied is human behavior. So looking at that, a lot of it is how do we motivate change? What do we do? How can we motivate behavioral change? Everything with regards to that. How do we get people to do something different? And when you look at something like the music industry and the musicians, it's so highly visible, and musicians have such a wide audience that they can say, and they have so much power over the people they're speaking to. So there's a lot of power in that. I think there's a term called climate shadow, and I think that's something that is really accurate in this respect. So everyone knows what's your carbon footprint. So that's something similar, how much carbon you actually emit over the year. And what the idea of a climate shadow is it looks into who you're actually affecting. Are you affecting change? What can you do over time? Are you able to actually go to these people and see them change their behavior, see them be more sustainable? And people like activists, they're able to do this work, and musicians as well, because they have such a broad audience, they're really able to have a huge climate shadow and speak to all these people and make a remarkable difference in the world.
I think the power of music is really beautiful in that music has always been a part of societal change. It's been a big part of history. It's really reflected protests that have been happening. There are incredible protest songs that have been alongside and guided incredible movements and revolutions in the past. And so it's not radical to think that music can also be part and right alongside with creating climate action. It's a way to really touch people's hearts in a different way and engage a new audience that usually wouldn't go to climate and environmental spaces, that wouldn't usually go to protests. And that's something I've seen in doing things such as with Billie Eilish and talking to her fans that wouldn't usually go to something climate related, but it's actually Thank you. Is actually a less intimidating way for people to get involved. And I remember at Siget Festival in Budapest, where I was with Vanessa Nakate, and we spoke on stage, introduced by Maggie, Billy's mum. And I remember speaking to activists after from Hungary who said, thank you so much for doing this and for saying what you said, because these conversations aren't happening. And we don't have a minister of the environment and whatnot, and it's a great way to get more people engaged, especially on a stage as big as festivals. And in the festival campaign to do with Climate Live, having a big pink solar-powered bus where artists are performing and people are drawn in by the music and the joy, and then right next door they go to the stall with different youth campaigners from across the UK and speak to them about how they can practically get involved, what campaigns they need to support. It's just a really beautiful way to unite people and get them together and show them that there are so many ways to be an activist and to be part of a green future.
At Earth Percent, we say that music is a universal language, and I completely agree that every single person on the planet has a love for music, despite us having certain genres that might seem more popular. There are actually millions of people around the world who are just listening to different kinds of music every day. And if we can tap into that audience, that's incredible and really, really powerful. And what Domi was saying earlier about the joy that people get from the music space. I mean, I went to, Billie Eilish did this secret, well, slightly small secret gig in London right before Overheated, and the crowd was so immense. They knew every single word, every single line. I mean, if I'm really honest, it was kind of hard to hear what Billie was singing because people were screaming so loudly. And actually, my friend Kurt just entered the room, and we were standing over the banister, and we saw Billie singing and all the fans. And I just turned to him and I said, imagine if those people were in the climate space. How powerful would that be? And I think we need to move forward with that mentality. Like, how do we harness that energy of the fan base to actually care about something really powerful? And also, Domi is a big K-pop fan, and she's told me so many times of how K-pop artists have used their audience to drive positive change. I mean, it's actually phenomenal. And I just keep thinking back to that moment, actually, when we were at the concert, and just keep thinking, like, how do we take that and embed it in the climate space? So the fan base is also a huge reason why I think it's so important to use this as a positive tool for change.
100%. You can't underestimate the power of young people, and the music festivals and people that go to gigs mostly are filled with young people. The kind of artists that are going to speak out are the young artists who are up and coming, and they want to talk about this and use their platforms. From experience, it's a lot from like booking artists and programming things. The younger artists are a lot more up for it, and their teams are a lot more up for it, which is great to see. And it's reflective of the youth climate movement. It's like they're part of us, and a lot of artists we've worked with are like feel like part of the team at this point because they've like come and done multiple events with us. And in terms of the power of music fans at festivals, major festivals in the UK, this summer and last summer we've been playing on the main stage screens a shortened version of that video, and it plays in every changeover right before even the headline artist goes on, and it's incredible when it's like dark and everyone's really excited for like someone big to go on stage at like Reading and Leeds, for example, and just everyone goes completely silent and just listens to the video, which was a really surreal moment. Like everyone's chatting. I don't know if anyone has been to Reading and Leeds, but it's a very like young, everyone's drinking, like they're having a good time. Just everyone was just silent listening to our video and cheering as their favorite artists, like Billy spoke, or some actor supporters we have like Amy Beth McNulty and Bella Ramsey. So it really does show the power of music, and that's also, playing our video for any music industry folk. That's a very simple thing that that can be done to spread the message at music festivals. So I'd like to find out a bit more about everyone's next project. Like, what's the next big thing that you have going on? And let's change it up. Tori, I'll start with you this time.
I mean, maybe I can, well, I'll start with the first thing, why we came to New York Climate Week. So Climate Live has been offered a 50-meter squared pavilion in the blue zone of COP28. As Francis mentioned, a lot of the MAPA, most affected people and areas activists, don't have the liberties of striking and taking action for the planet. And this hub will essentially exist as a space for people to come together to do activism safely, and also to harness the power of music to bring that connectivity and connect with lots of different youth climate groups around the world. Officially, yesterday, we got confirmation that we found our funding. Yeah, which is very exciting. I mean, everyone said to us, come to New York Climate Week, and yeah, they weren't wrong. The funding's here. So we got our funding, which is really exciting. So all three of us will be going to COP28 to help with the programming and engage lots of different youth climate movements. And then I'll let Domi speak about the next thing that we're working on.
So the first thing I'll quickly mention is Climate Live US starting up as building a team here in the US, which is, as you all know, a very, very great place to have this intersection of music and climate and young people coming together. So do look out for that, and if you want to support or be involved in any way, please do speak to us after. And also, another exciting announcement is that Tori, Francis, and I will be starting a band. So do look out for that one. The name is confidential as of now, but look out for it. Beautiful things coming soon.
So right now, yeah, can you hear me? Yeah. Nope. Oh, don't use mine. Hello, all good? Yes. So right now, MSA is doing a few really incredible things. The main thing we're prepping for is we're going to have a summit that is going to be in February 5th in Los Angeles, California. And right now, we're doing a little bit of the prep work for the summit. So we're working with MIT, their Environmental Solutions Initiative, as well as ClimeCo. And what we are doing specifically is we are looking to set a baseline to see what do we know, what do we not know, what are really people doing for sustainability in the music industry. It's very difficult when everyone is speaking a different language, and right now people are working in silos and they're doing great work, but there's not a lot of communication and collaboration across the board. So what we're aiming to do and look at is specifically see where we are, see what everybody's using, see how they're measuring, and see if from that we can get a baseline and see, okay, what more do we need to do? And then from there, see how we can affect change across the board for the music industry, really have us unite together. So that's one big portion of the summit. And then as well, we're gonna have a lot of content that's specifically addressing the challenges that each sector faces in the music industry. As a lot of people know, the music industry is very diverse. There's production, there's artists, there's managers, there's labels, DSP, everything with respect to that. And they all have unique challenges when it comes to climate change. So we really want to address that and show our work and have everyone come together and really put a call to action for the music industry.
Yeah, so at Planet Reimagined, we're currently running a one-year project. So the first part of the project literally is we're creating a survey. We're working with Ticketmaster and Reverb and a couple other partners to really provide the data of what fans want. Because we all know that a lot of artists, a lot of celebrities, they want to do something, right? But there's really no data to support what kind of action is needed, right? How fans really feel about an artist speaking up. So that's the first part of the survey. We're asking questions like, if your favorite artist asks you to discuss climate change with your family and friends, how likely are you going to do that, right? So stuff like this. And then that's the first part of the project. The second part, which is our next step, is once we have those data, we're gonna use the data and the findings to actually go into concerts and test some of those findings. Because in a way, like if you think about one time you take survey and polls, you're like, yeah, this is how I feel I would do. But then when you go to a space, it might be different. It might be the same, right? So in a way, we're trying to find data that's, outside of the concert space about the concert, right? But then go into a concert to really find out how people think and feel and value and see in that concert space. So that's the second part. And then at the end of our 1-year project, we're gonna come up with a recommendation plan that's ranging from, if you have a concert with 50 people to like Taylor Swift, right? 75,000, I think that's the average, right? Like if you have a full range of different type of audiences, different, the scale of the concert is different. If you're an artist and the managing team, what are you gonna do? And what are your fans looking for? So at the end of the project, we hope to get this recommendation plan really like to every artist and every managing team and every record labels to really get them to consider this so that in the next tour, they can really think about, yeah, you know what? We can, help gather fans around climate. We can help each other see the love, the care for the planet, for the artists, for music, and for each other.
Amazing. I think that's such a ingenious way to frame it as what artists' fans want, because you can send an artist something and be like, this is how you can make your tour more sustainable. But if you say, this is what your fans want, they perform for their fans, so they're more likely to do it. And Domi and Tori have spoken a bit to what Climate Live's next plans are with COP, and our kind of further plans, so our plans for next year. I'll just share a little bit. So we're trying to expand our festival campaign. So currently we, this year and last year, have had stalls and stages at festivals in a few countries. So the UK, Colombia, Japan, Ireland, and Sweden. And we would like to do that in all 40 of our countries around the world. So we're fundraising for £5,000, so $6,000 for each of our country teams to have the funding to set up the campaign stalls at festivals, so getting themselves a gazebo and campaign materials and like a PA to play some music and have a stage. That's something that we are working on. And to put on my other hat, I also do work with Music Declares Emergency, which is an incredible group who have got like artists and music industry organizations like labels and agencies, etc., to declare a climate emergency. And a campaign that we're working on is Fan Club for Climate, which is getting people at festivals to sign up to an email list, and then they get opportunities to win tickets to festivals through volunteering and supporting. And it's just a way for it's like a fan club. It says it in the name for people who are fans of music to hear more about how they can support and what's going on in the industry. The next question. So we've talked a bit about what we're all working on, which is incredible. It's been wonderful to hear about all your guys' work. How can the folk listening support or get involved?
Sure. So I would encourage everybody to go to Planet Reimagined's website, because we're really an organization that's like looking for fundings to support young people, right? Young people who are interested in looking into different areas of solutions about climate, and then doing research and bridging research to action and communication. Because I have a PhD, and we all know how it works in academia, right? We do a lot of research and crunching our data, and then like create like 200 pages there, and then just put it on the shelf. How many people really read it, right? But then so we're trying to get out of that, do research, and actually make the research functional, bridging that to action and drive people to do action. So go to our website, Planet Reimagined, and also at the end of the year when we have that recommendation plan, right? Again, trying to bridge research to action. If we have a plan, no one read it, doesn't work, okay? So we would like for you to be in contact or come talk to me. I have several colleagues here. We can tell you more about it. And then once we have that plan, I would love for you guys to spread to many people as possible. So, yeah.
I think we have something similar right now. The first thing is we would love for everyone to come to our summit, which press release to come soon. Remember, it's February 5th. And I think another thing, too, is if you're in the climate space, if you're in the music space, please engage with us. We would love to hear from you. And we would just love to get this going and see everyone engage with the work we're doing.
So for Climate Live, we do have a website, climatelive.org. Also have the socials, which you can check out. Climate Live Global is the global one, Climate Live UK for the UK one, and so on. And also, so if you want to support, especially on the upcoming things that are happening, such as fundraising for festivals across the world and for building a US team and lots of other things, please do get in touch with us and chat to us. And we have our email also up on the website.
Yeah, to further that as well, invite us to your festivals, have us on stage, help us that platform to reach more people. Resources, obviously, it doesn't just have to be money. It can also be your time and your consultancy to support us with our mission and also give us advice because, we're still young and we're still trying to learn the way of the world. The music industry is a mammoth and there's a lot to navigate. And also just really encourage your colleagues or people that you work with to talk about us, to support the work that we're doing. And also, just put young people forward, diverse young people from all around the world. Because unfortunately, a lot of the music industry is very pale, male, and stale. So we're trying to subvert that. Have us in your rooms, have us in your meetings. We're going to say the shit that you don't want to say. And we need a little bit of a radical injection. Time's running out. So, yeah.
Fully echo that. Everything that has been said. And we are youth activists in the music space. We as Tori said, we will say what needs to be said. There's, if you as someone in the music industry don't want to go to your board of directors and say, hey, this needs to change, this needs to happen, get us in. They can be mad at us, we don't mind. We'll just say it how it is. So the final question before we go to a little Q&A, so if anyone has any things brewing, just keep them in mind. This is a fun one that we at Climate Live ask all the artists that perform with us. And that's, if you were about to go to a protest, what song would you play to hype yourself up beforehand? This is also, if you're trying to slip climate change into an interview, a really good one to slip in there. So I'll pass over to Leah. Oh, Tori, go for it. Go for it.
I wouldn't pick one song. I'd pick a playlist. I really love the artist Low Key. He's a UK-based rapper, and he keeps music radical. He is a phenomenal artist. He talks about everything political. He's not afraid to, speak the truth. So anything by Low Key, LOW-KEY. Low-key.
Yeah, it's also hard for me to pick one song, but I've narrowed it down to two. I would pick Vossi Bop by Stormzy. It's a great song. And I'd also pick Excess by Rina Sawayama.
I listen to mostly calm music, so this was a difficult one for me, but I do adore Muse. And although maybe Uprising or Liberation would be the typical one, I think I'd actually say maybe MK Ultra, something from that album. Great album, very good for pumping you up, so anything Muse.
I would say my pick is not really a hype song, but I treat my Midwestern roots really seriously. And I just went to a Common concert last week, so Common. Okay, so my song that's always helping me to energize and get inspired every single time is his Glory from Selma. Because, I come from the background as a community organizer in Dallas, Texas, and every time I hear that song Glory, I can just picture MLK and all these organizers underground trying to get people involved, right? Because any movement is about people. It's not about polar bears. It's not about, yeah, a little bit, right? But it's really about saving ourselves, and it's about saving our community. It's about providing support for our community. It's about making sure we have everything we need to thrive, to live, to enjoy each other's company, and to live happily. So it's glory by Common.
Amazing, some brilliant suggestions. Personally, I would play anything by Charlie XCX, just really gets me pumped up. And I'd like to share the most common answer, probably 1 out of 2 answers we get from artists, is Rage Against the Machine, just a classic. So yeah, we probably have time for a few questions. So I'd like to open the floor if anyone has anything they would like to ask us.
Thank you. Oh, that's.
My name is Tsui. I'm from Norway, as some of you know. One very specific question for you. How can music address the fossil fuel industry? And just.
That is a great question, a really good question. And I think that music industry actually has a big role to play in addressing the fossil fuel industry and the transition away from it. And one of the ways music can do that is by music festivals actually divesting away from fossil fuel sponsors and from banks that are known for investing a lot into fossil fuels. And it's such a powerful thing for the music industry and for festivals to say, actually, we're moving away from this completely, and we're not going to give them a social license anymore. And that in itself would be incredibly powerful.
Yeah, I completely echo what Domi said. For those who don't know, a social license is essentially a form of credibility that we give to an organization by virtue of them affiliating with culture, because culture is so powerful. And say, for instance, in the context of Latitude, it's sponsored by Barclays Bank, which is one of the most polluting banks because it has so many ties to the fossil fuel industry. And by them aligning with something like Latitude, it gives them this credibility to keep existing and exploiting as usual. We also have social license being used by the fossil fuel industry inserting themselves into our climate negotiation spaces, which is why people in the climate movement sometimes are very strong about we're not going to work with polluters, because inadvertently that's just prolonging the problem. It's not actually radically tackling what we need to do. And also, many of you may have heard Reva worked with Billie Eilish to get her concert powered by solar power, and I feel like that's such a cool way to show people that it can be done and to move away from using fossil fuels. And the other thing is Climate Live actually works a lot with anti-fossil fuel organizers who come and speak on the bus, and it's a really, really clever Trojan horse, because I think a lot of people are like, oh yeah, music, oh that's nice, that's joyful, and then you kind of insert people into the space who are radical community organizers who say, we're protesting against Equinor, for instance, and the oil field. That's how you get them into the space and use that as, this Trojan horse to challenge these narratives about what we can do in society.
Definitely, completely agree with that. Like the music industry we released a statement about this a few months ago, has these historical ties to sponsors who invest in fossil fuels and are in the fossil fuel industry. And it's all well and good to talk about this and say, yes, we're doing sustainable things, we're having recycling, we're banning vapes, which is, a great step. But if you're bankrolled by the folk that are causing the problem, it's very counterintuitive. So that's something Climate Live and Music Declares Emergency. We're trying to have conversations behind the scenes. So if there's any, events or companies or labels or promoters who work a lot with fossil fuel sponsors, definitely get in touch with us, because we're used to working in the industry, we're used to talking to music folk, so we're not going to go at them all guns blazing. We want to meet them where they're at and have the conversation about how we can change this and how we can help them to move away from these sponsors, because as Music Declares says, there's no music on a dead planet. We can't keep going to these festivals and concerts with these sponsors. I think I have time for one more question.
everybody. I'm Francesca. This has been an amazing panel. I work in the sustainability space for World Wildlife Fund on consumer engagement, and I also attend music festivals and concerts every weekend. And I've wanted to find ways to combine my work more. So my question for you is for the more traditional, larger environmental nonprofits like World Wildlife Fund, how can we better support this kind of work and tap into the music sustainability space? I think it's really growing, and I want to make a case for my organization that we should be supporting musicians and activists in the space to reach more potential activists.
That's a really great question, thank you. I'll say quickly, I think the first thing that can be done, and one thing that's been really great for organizations such as Climate Live with NGOs is like partnering with climate music organizations and really supporting in terms of the network and the reach that you have, and in mobilizing and engaging people is just so powerful. So I think partnering and coming together and asking what's the best way to support is a really great way.
Yeah, I would add on support in time, where so Climate Live, for example, and a lot of folk in the music climate space work completely voluntarily, and we don't have the budget to pay folk or a massive amount of capacity because we're doing other things like school or uni or other jobs. So if you could donate a person to give us a day a week, that's something that's incredibly valuable.
Also, just want to shout out this statistic that I learned from
0.76% of all climate grants go to youth.
Only less than 1%, basically, go to climate youth groups. And you've seen how much Climate Live has done with no money. Imagine how much we could do with some money. We're out here doing the work for free. So support us.
That brings us perfectly to time. So thank you all for listening, and feel free to come and chat to us afterwards.